Well, hello and welcome to Antigua, the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium, where it is make or break time for England. They have to win and win well today against an opponent they've never met in a full international, Oman. And if they are to make it through to the Super 8 stage, the reason they have to win so well is that net run rate swing. At the moment, it is Australia already through and Scotland in second place, who are ahead of England and the potential barrier to qualification for the next stage. I'm Henry Moran. We'll be speaking to Jeff Lemon and Stephen Finn very shortly, but the all-important toss took place a few minutes ago. Let's hear what happened with Michael Atherton.
Well, it's very breezy out in the middle for the 28th match of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup between England and Oman. The match referee, Andy Pykoff, Josh Butler, Akib Ilyas are here. Josh, you've got the coin.
Heads.
Heads is the call.
It's a tail.
It's a tail. England have won the toss. What are you going to do, Josh, and why?
We're going to bowl first today. Looks a really good wicket, but we'd like to know how many runs we're chasing.
It seems like it's been a really frustrating tournament for you. You've been here a long time, played about 50 overs cricket.
Yeah, we have, but that's the situation. We know exactly where we are today. We need to try and win the game and win the game well.
And the fact that you've got 2 games then in 3 days, do you feel that this is a chance to really kick-start things?
Yeah, absolutely. We're really focused on today. We've had a really good prep leading into it, and we need to show our best.
You have a run rate predicament. How much is that going to play on your minds today?
Yeah, a little bit, but most importantly, we need to try and win the game. We always show it to everyone, and we've got to earn the right to win the game. That's a little bit of the reason to try and know exactly what we need to do and in that run chase.
Any changes to your team from the last game?
We have one change, Reece Topley.
And what are you hoping he will bring to the team?
With this breeze, a bit of swing, I think. Early wickets, that's what we'll be after.
Go well today.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. What would you have done if you'd have won the toss?
Yeah, we wanted to bowl first, but you can't depend on the toss. It's a very good wicket, as Joe said. It's a very good flat track to bat on. So yeah, it's good. Our batsmen, they have to be confident outside, and let's play our natural game.
We've not had a win so far, but every game gives you an opportunity to improve, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is cricket. You have to learn from the games, and not all the time results are very important. They are at the days, but still, playing against these sides and doing well, getting the positives from the game is good for us.
You seem to start the tournament quite strongly, quite brightly. More of a struggle in the last game. What are you hoping to improve on from that?
The only thing we can improve is the bowling. Batting came out. We did really well, but the thing is, in the fielding we have to do really well, because we are among the top. The side who dropped a lot of catches, so that can hurt at times.
And any changes for your team from the last game?
Yeah, Fiaz Bhatt, a fast bowler, he has come in the side, and one player is out.
Go well today. Enjoy the day. England have won the toss. They're going to bowl first this afternoon.
So that is the news from out in the middle. England winning the toss, electing to have a bowl first alongside me. Ashes winning fast bowler Stephen Finn, and ABC Grandstand's Jeff Lemon as well. Lovely to see both of you. And the reason that England have won the toss and they're having a bowl first, Stephen Finn, is
so that they can bowl Oman out. There are a couple of stipulations, aren't there? Because actually bowling them out cheaply and chasing the runs very, very quickly, I don't think aids their run rate, as well as Oman scoring a few more runs and England chasing it very quickly. So I think England will be looking to restrict Oman clearly. They'll be looking to take early wickets and put themselves in a position where they can win the game, and then when they come to the bat in hand, I think they'll be going hammer and tong to try and win it, whatever they're chasing.
Well, they've set themselves up. You want to be chasing. You've got more control over it net run rate wise if you're doing that, because you know what you need to get and how quickly you need to do it. I was just trying to crunch the numbers here, and I think where England's setting targets, they'd need to beat Oman and Namibia by about 85 runs each to go past Scotland's net run rate. Of course, Scotland could lose net run rate against Australia, so it might not need to be that extreme, but that's a pretty intense margin.
the reason that England are in this peril, and it seems so odd, bearing in mind that they've lost one game against a very good Australian side and had the misfortune of a rained-off match. But the group looks like this. Australia top of the pile on 6 points. Scotland are on 5, having played a game more. Namibia are on 2 points, already eliminated, ahead of England on 1. Oman have lost each of the games that they've played, albeit they did run Namibia very close indeed in that super over, had their moments against Australia, but then were beaten soundly here by Scotland. Scotland. They are on 0 points. So England have to keep themselves in the tournament with a win today, because if there's no result or we see a defeat against Oman, that will mean their title defence comes to an end in rather meek fashion, I think it's fair to say. So if they win this game against Oman and then against Namibia on Saturday, it all comes down to net run rate. And as we say, England need to win big today. So that team news, it's a simple selection change for England, Stephen. Reece Topley, who we've been thinking might come in, has come into the side in place of Chris Jordan.
Yeah, we anticipated that what might have been the correct call to get Reece Topley in for the Australia game. You thought at the expense of Mark Wood. But here I think the swap with Jordan is a nod towards the fact that Topley is a very good power play bowler, and England have struggled so far in the power play in the 2 games that they've played. He's a wicket taker inside those 6 overs, and I think that they've retained the services of Wood and Archer in combination with their pace, in order that if they do get Oman 5 down and the lower order are coming in, we've seen that they're susceptible to quick pace. So it'd be a case of holding Mark Wood back and just utilising him to try and blow away that tail. So I like the seed, and I think it leaves them in a good position to win this game.
Well, England line up like this: Phil Salt and Jos Buttler, who captains and keeps wicket. They'll open the batting. Will Jacks, who I imagine won't be opening the bowling from the other end today. Johnny Bairstow, Harry Brook, Liam Livingstone, Moeen Ali, Jofra Archer, Mark Wood, Adil Rashid and Reece Topley. For Oman, they'll be looking for more from their captain Akib Ilyas, who's been a little disappointing in the tournament thus far. Pratik, Atavali, Kresiap, Prajapati open the batting. Then it's the skipper Akib Ilyas. Zishan Maqsood, vast experience. Kali Kyle, who's actually had quite an effective tournament with the bat. Ayan Khan, Shoaib Khan, Meran Khan, who has been excellent with the ball. Medium paces, awkward particularly in Barbados. And then Fayez Bhatt, Kalimullah and Bilal Khan. Kalimullah, keep an eye out for him. Very tall, powerful, and when he takes a wicket, everybody on this island will know all about it. So the 2 sides heading out to the middle. 2 teams in red. England with the red jerseys and the dark trousers. Oman all in red with the green flashes. The huge flags are unfurled, almost stretching from one side of the ground to the other. It is the Sir Vivian Richards ground here in Antigua. It is must win for England. The 2 sides out in the middle. With a decent following of England supporters on the grass banks over to our left in front of the barbecues. The flags are blowing, and they're actually blowing against the short side of the ground, so you're going to be hitting into the wind, if you like, that way. But here we go. It is time for the national anthems of these 2 sides. Oman first, followed by England.
No.
the national anthem of Oman. And here comes the national anthem of England. England will be hoping that is not the penultimate time that they're singing their national anthem at this year's Men's T20 World Cup. They have to perform well today. They have elected to have a bowl first. A few on social media saying, what's going on there? If you win the toss, surely you get as many on the board as you possibly can. But Stephen Finn, Jeff Lemon, as I make way for you to kick things off on commentary in just a moment, there's many ways to skin a cat, and this is the way England have approached, because...
At least two ways to skin a cat. Yeah, you've got to...
I've got 2 cats. Let's not talk about skinning cats, please.
All right. Let's. There are 2 ways to shampoo a cat. let's make it more relevant to your experiences. Yes, if England are chasing, I think I'm not an arithmetician, but I think if I've crunched the numbers well enough, they need to chase in about 12 overs, whatever it is. It varies slightly depending on what the target is they're chasing, but between 11 and 13 overs somewhere across this game and across the Namibia game.
So they need to do it in both of those games?
In both those games to catch Scotland's current net run rate, which could end up being lower than it currently is. So they just have to try to do at least that part of the job here today. And if they could get a bonus, if they could somehow roll Oman for a really low score, something under 100, and chase it in, 6 or 7 or 8 overs, something like Australia did to Namibia the other day, then that would be a real boost.
Yeah, and I think Josh Butler's spoken a lot actually in the build-up to this game about needing to earn the right to do that. We're sat here and for the last couple of days we've been trying to understand what they need to do, but the team and the players out there, their focus will solely be on getting themselves into a position where they can then worry about that by having the ball in their hand. They'll feel as though they're a little bit more in control. They can set the tone of the game. They can put Oman under pressure, and then when it comes to chasing, we know how much power is inside that top 7.
Well, England will be hoping that they can repeat what Ruben Trumpelmann did in Barbados when he got wickets from the first 2 deliveries of the innings against the left-handed opening duo from Oman. We're still waiting for them to cross the boundary edge. And there is nothing he likes more, Rhys Stockley, than opening the bowling, turning around, seeing the big screen, seeing the countdown, and knowing that he is ready to go at the top of his mark. He has been eager to get going in this tournament, and there have been many, Finney, who have been eager to see him getting an opportunity.
Yeah, well, and I think it's because of his wicket-taking prowess inside these first 6 overs why people have been calling for him to be in the team right from the very beginning of the tournament. You look at the other bowlers, yes, Archer is very capable of bowling in the power play, but Topley is almost a power play specialist, and having him in there instead of Chris Jordan just gives England that extra option, left arm swing, and that ability to take wickets inside the first 6, which is so crucial.
Right then, Jeff Lemon, Stephen Finn, with England and Oman ready to go. It is over to you.
Rhys Topley with the ball in hand. He's tall, he's dark-haired, he's brisk. He's had his problems with injury. He might have a few areas in which, Stephen Finn, you feel some affinity with Rhys Topley.
Yeah, although I never stepped on a boundary sponge and sprained my ankle, so he might be even more clumsy than me. I just had a couple of dodgy knees and dodgy backs, but he's been very unlucky in his quest to find a prolonged place in the team or spot in the team, and this is another opportunity for him to do so.
He's got, I think he might have the 2nd highest 50-over World Cup batting strike rate of all time, though, after his little cameo during the World Cup last year, where he played a game or 2 and then went home injured, but he clobbered a few with the bat, so he's got that little record to add to his Hall of Fame at the end of his career. We're waiting for the advertising breaks on the television, I suspect, because everybody's out there waiting. That somewhat humorous instance in the USA game against India of the USA being penalised for taking too long between overs.
9.
So the umpires took about 4 minutes to confer to discuss whether the penalty would be applied, and then eventually applied it. So that's a good way to save time.
Let's play cricket.
Let's play cricket is the announcement around the ground, and Topley's held up by the umpire, who says, no, let's not play cricket because I haven't said play yet. Now we've got play. And we will get underway with Reece Topley to bowl to Pratik Attavale, who's playing a pull shot and getting a single. The ball only rolls about 8 metres away from the bat towards the leg side. Didn't get much on it, but he's off the mark, and so are Oman with a little under-edged pull.
Yeah, threw the shot just a touch early. I think a bit of a loosener from Reece Topley as opposed to being anything untoward from the surface, but off the mark first ball, he'll be happy.
Topley turning quickly. Thinking about those over rates, perhaps. Bit of swing there as he pitches the ball up. Left arm over to a right-hander, and it comes back in slightly. Just tucked in behind it in the end is Prajapati, who blocks that ball away.
The wind's pumping from left to right, from east to west here in Antigua, and that's the way that Reece Topley is trying to swing the ball. So left arm over the wicket, bowling to a right-handed batter, using that wind to just angle the ball back in towards those pads.
He's got a slip along with a ring field, Topley, and he's swinging it into the pads and hitting high above the knee roll. Too high to interest the bowler, but the movement is there. Their field is in the deep, a deep third and a deep square leg at the moment. So one for the outside edge and one if he gets too straight and is clipped away.
And it's that movement actually which is why people have been calling for Reece Topley to play. None of the other bowlers are really swing bowlers. Reece Topley really gets that movement in the air, which can be tricky to hit inside the first 6 overs.
On that run in again, relatively short run, goes back of a length, dropped away behind point, but straight to the fielder. Quiet start continues for Oman, who are asked to bat. 1 run, no wickets. So we've got a slip backward point, cover, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket, and a short fine leg. Deep square leg and deep third, the 2 fielders allowed outside the circle in the first 6 overs. The fielding restrictions apply. Topley swinging in just back of a length. We haven't seen him throw in a really full one, but it has moved when he's put it on a length. 1 ball to come in the over.
Yeah, we've seen a very tentative start as well from the Omani batters, just trying to get used to the pace of the surface. It looks like a very good one. All the news coming back from the middle today has been that it will be a good pitch. What we saw the other evening between Australia and Namibia, even though the scoreline suggests otherwise, it was a very good surface for batting.
Kashyap Prajapati waits for Topley and pulls, and again doesn't time it like his batting partner didn't earlier. Johnny Bairstow dives across at mid-wicket, makes a good tumbling save. So a very tidy first over. England will be happy with that, even if the wicket didn't come. At least it only conceded 1 run, which was to Attavale. Prajapati yet to score. So England looking to make up net run rate here. Need to chase something in 11, 12, 13 overs to try to take a big piece out of that net run rate they need to make up.
Am I right in saying, though, that England would be better off Oman getting 120 and they chase it quickly rather than 70 like Namibia got the other evening, or am I making that up?
I think it would. It does change a bit. I'm not mathematically inclined enough to be able to figure out why, but if the score is big, if they say chase 200, then they could take a little bit longer to chase it and they'd gain a little bit more ground. So I think the smaller it is, the more quickly, the even more accelerated your chase needs to be to get the same bang for buck.
It's all so confusing. As a player, you're never I'm a fast bowler, so.
Archer will bowl his first ball of the day, and it's down the leg side. That helps Oman. Just slips past the hip of Attavale. 2 for none. It is interesting how anti-intuitive net run rate is for people who follow cricket, because most of us, if you're a football fan, you understand goal difference.
Yes.
You know that this team scored 4 and this team scored 1, and they have to make it up to get out of the group at the World Cup.
Well, I've had an idea that could mitigate net run rate somewhat.
All right, I'm all ears. Archer on the long run in from the Andy Roberts end, backing away is Attavale with confidence and playing it out through extra cover. That goes for 4. That's an outrageous shot. Steps outside his leg stump and scythes through the ball, reaching for it, all wrists, and smacks it wide of mid-off for 4.
I think he even advanced down the pitch. I think he's not only gone outside leg stump, he's just took a little pigeon step down the pitch towards one of the most fearsome fast bowlers in the world. Both feet started inside the crease, they ended outside the crease, and the end result is a beautiful 4 through extra cover.
I wouldn't say it was the best timed shot. The bat twists in his hands, but he got enough on it. There's 6 for none, Oman, and he goes again, and this time he's hit it straight to cover and is caught down low. Okay, well, there's the instance where that particular attempt at a stroke doesn't pan out, because he hit the same shot, the bat twisted in the hands again, and it just went a bit squarer.
Maybe a slightly more bent back from Jofra Archer there as well. It just bounced a touch more out the surface. It's that twist in the hand that means he doesn't catch it cleanly at all. The catch is taken by Phil Salt, diving forward at extra cover. There's muted celebrations from all the England players, as it seems like a formality that wicket should have been taken, but they're off and running in this game.
Well, Archer off and running as well. So Pratik Attavale 5 off 3 balls. The strike rate's there, but the volume of the innings is not. Oman 6 for the loss of 1. If you're just tuning in, you're on BBC Test Match Special. We're also on ABC Sport on the ABC Listen app. Jeff Lemon and Stephen Finn with you from Antigua. Beautiful part of the world here. Very hot and humid today. It's going to be tough out there. Even 20 overs in the field will be a reasonable chunk of time and effort.
Interestingly, it's only the Brits that seem to be out on the grass bank. So all the locals are sat in the shade, pushed away in the corner of the stand, because they know that the sun will get you here.
Yep. There's always something about the British inclination to come to these parts of the world and test themselves
invincible
as fully as possible. I think it's just a lack of understanding of the reality of what's going to happen. Archer in and bowls a short ball over the head of Akib Ilyas, the skipper. It's not called wide. I remember being astonished going to England for the first time, walking around in the sun for an hour at midday and then thinking, oh no, I forgot to put on sunscreen. Nothing had happened.
No.
I wasn't burnt. If that had been in Australia, I would have been crisped by then.
Yes, I learnt the hard way. Last time I went to Australia for a friend's wedding, actually, I burnt my feet to the point where I had awful headaches for a day.
Open-toed shoes?
No, I was just sat on the beach the day that I got there for 45 minutes. I thought, I'll be all right.
Yep.
I wasn't.
Archer runs up to Akib. It cuts beautifully. The timing of that one. Leans back and steers the cut behind point for 4, and Reece Topley's down a deep third. He can only come around to underarm the ball back in. 4 runs added to the total.
That shot shows what a good surface this could potentially be. On top of the bounce, the wicket doesn't take any pace out of the ball. Can stand on top of the bounce and just chop his hands down on it towards point and use the pace. And it really does race away.
Archer will try again. 10 for the loss of 1. Inside edge drive from Akib Ilyas will get him a single behind a square leg. He was looking to go more through a wide mid-on. And he gets enough of a piece of that to get a run. 11 for the loss of 1. So the umpire just helping the batter take guard again. You can hear that conversation going on.
He's taking leg stump, which is something that I'd be doing, actually.
Get out of the way faster. Prajapati is coming forward and pushing the ball out to point. Doesn't time that either. Again, it's Salt coming in to do the fielding. Throw the ball back to Butler, his captain. 11 for 1 after 2 overs, Oman. So it's been an eventful start. Jofra Archer hit for 4 first ball. Picked up a wicket next ball, caught it cover, and then got cut away for 4 more. 8 for 1. I suppose you take that in T20 cricket, extrapolate that across your 4 overs, and you've got 4 for 32. It's not a bad day.
Sounds good to me, yeah, especially at the moment. Although Adam Zampa, I think he got 4 for 17 the other night, which is a real average booster for you in T20 cricket. He's got 2 player of the match in 2 games as well, hasn't he? So
yeah, it was the full bag too. He had he had catches held. He slid through the LBW. He had the wrong one coming back to hit the stumps.
The full house,
full leg spinners. bag of tricks. Topley showing his bag of tricks. Doesn't really swing that ball. Back of a length, angled across on the off stump when it's met on the front foot by Akib Ilyas, who hasn't started with the bat, but he's been very impressive with the ball. I've enjoyed watching Akib bowl his leg spin, off spin combination. Bowl mostly off breaks to the right-handers. And then the Namibia game the other day where he slipped in an off break that came back through the gate to the right-hander, knocked him over. Topley in swing this time. And coming forward, Akib is not scoring, so Topley has proved unhittable so far for this Oman, the 3 Oman batters who faced him.
Yeah, he's getting good bounce here. Topley is a tall man, around 6'7", 6'8", broad shoulders, not express pace, but from a fullish length is able to hit the splice, and this dry surface, but good surface, is bouncing just slightly and hitting the splice of Ilyas's bat.
Comes over his marker. Topley bowls a low full toss, and they're not taking toll of it. They'll get a single, but only the one as it's driven away just square of the wicket. Saved by Livingston. Tosses the ball back and maybe could have punished that. Akib Ilyas only gets the one. Prajapati back on strike, yet to score. About to face his 7th delivery. Not necessarily what you want from an opener in 20-over cricket. Topley. And Prajapati tries to play the scoop, so desperate is he to get his scoring happening. And he will get a run, but not really where he meant to score. He was looking to go over his left shoulder down through fine leg. Instead, he hits it much squarer, and Adil Rashid from short fine leg gets around to backward square to field. They've taken 113 for the loss of 1 in the 3rd. Prajapati on 1, Akib back on strike on 6. Topley circles again. Comes into Akib Ilyas, who drives a full ball, but straight to mid-off. Won't get a run there.
Building the dots, you can hear the fielders saying there through the stump mic, the pressure building. Oman will know that they need to get a decent total, and Oman's goal here really is to stuff England up. That's your motivation as a player on the Oman team at the moment.
Have an influence on the tournament.
Yeah, ruin someone's day.
Yeah, that's what sport's all about. Here goes Topley. And a little slog sweep across the line. Well, they've got the deep square leg back, which means he'll only get 1 run for the shot, but probably deserved more for that. It was audacious, and it was well played by Akib, who got down on one knee and played a wristy pick-up flick over square leg for a single. 14 for 1 at the end of the 3rd over.
It was a bit David Warner-esque, wasn't it? Down on one knee. The ball's outside off stump. Reece Topley trying to get that ball to shape back in, but a couple of boundaries hit in the previous over probably meant that a little bit of the shine and the smoothness has gone off the ball, so that big arcing swing that we saw in the 1st over wasn't quite there in the 3rd there, delivered by Reece Topley. So Ilyas, knowing it was going to be full outside the off stump, has tried to cheekily sweep him round the corner, but didn't manage to get all of it, even though it was quite an attractive stroke.
I don't know if you saw the USA-India game yesterday, but Surya Kumar Yadav hit one of those for 6. Archer coming in and bowling at the stumps, and Akib will get a single just off the outside half to point Webesto Fields. 15 for 1. Ridiculous timing on a pitch where nobody could time the ball all day, and somehow reached outside off and just picked it up and sent it sailing over deep square leg.
Yeah, he's a bit of a freak, isn't he, Surya Kumar Yadav? But I look at him and he's got these big, strong forearms. I look at some batters. Glenn Maxwell has them. Joss Buttler has them. Those guys that are really wristy and able to time the ball like that on slow surfaces have huge forearms.
Archer up, and there goes the scoop again. Prajapati is struck on the thigh pad, perhaps. It's running down to fine leg. I don't know if there was much or any bat involved with that attempted scoop shot. Again, he steps across outside his off stump as he tries to play it. They've got 1 run for it. The umpire says yes, he made contact. There was bat involved. So it's in the book as belonging to Prajapati, his 2nd run. Interesting. A bit of conversation still happening out there. Here goes Archer, back of a length, cut, and is he caught at backward point or has it half volleyed? Well, no. They're saying the catch is carried there. It's Will Jacks who's claiming it at backward point. Very low. The catch and cover was very low too, but Akib is not leaving the field. He's standing with his batting partner and the umpires are conferring. So Langton Rosere, the Zimbabwean umpire, is out there with Asif Yaqub of Pakistan. They're chatting in the middle. We'll see if this was a clean catch. Jax is confident.
He did look confident, didn't he? But we're sort of almost in line, our commentary box, with where Jax was standing, and his hands weren't out in front of him, so it looks as though this might be a rather contentious one when it's slowed down.
It didn't look convincing from up here, but on the replay I think it's gone cleanly in. Yeah. He's got his fingers on the ground and I think he scooped it off the fingers into the palms, so that should get the tick from the umpire.
Yeah, he was confident. As soon as he caught it, he pointed the finger to the sky and said, yes, that's out. So clearly confident. There's enough evidence for me there to say that that is out.
And the umpires only looked at it twice, which is the indication that it will be out, and it is. The second wicket falls. 16 for 2. We've had a lot of contention about these low catches in the last couple of years because they've got rid of the soft signal on the field where the on-field umpire would say whether they thought it was out or not. They've gone back to the third umpire being solely responsible for it, and as anyone who listened to Tony Gregg will know, foreshortening, TV cameras, you don't get the full picture from a TV camera of what's happening in a 3D situation.
Yeah, completely agree, and it looks so much worse, doesn't it, when you slow it down frame by frame. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. It's a very difficult job to ask the umpires on the field to make a judgment call if they can't see it, but I think in that situation there where it's inside the ring and the umpire at square leg would have had an unrestricted view of where the ball had travelled to, you would anticipate that they'd be able to offer some degree of an indication as to which direction they think the decision should go.
So Zishan Maqsood is the next to the crease. Oman in a bit of early strife with those 2 wickets going down. Zishan, who played against Australia and against Scotland so far. And he's waiting for Jofra Archer, who's got his second wicket and who's coming in to bowl. It's just being tapped away inside the circle. There'll be no run.
It's the bounce of Archer that's causing problems here. The previous delivery to Aqib Ilyas, the captain, caught really high up on the bat when he was trying to guide it down to deep third. It just meant that it came off the splice and just ballooned slightly towards backward point. Something they wouldn't have seen all that often, some of the pace and bounce of Archer.
He's got 2 for 12, Archer, and he's bowling to the left-hander who's dropped it. Slip, he's been put down. Moeen Ali is there fielding, and that was a clear outside edge, and Archer is on his haunches. He is upset. He saw a third wicket with his name all over it, but it's been taken away. The low catch this time has been grasped.
It's a lovely delivery by Archer, full of a length. The seam's pointing towards first slip for the left-hander from around the wicket. It was pretty full, but it took a healthy outside edge and would have gone straight to the left shin of Moeen Ali, who watched it all the way, had plenty of time to watch it because he stood so far back, but spilled it.
1 ball to come. Archer looking to make amends. Pull shot, won't score. It's straight to mid-wicket where Phil Salt beetles in like Alexander and fields the ball. 16 for 2 after 4 overs. Zishan Maqsood yet to score. Prajapati's still there on 2 from 8 balls. It was a funny old drop catch because often it's slip and that was low to the ground. You'll see it hit the fingers and bounce down. This one, his hands were coming up to the ball. It went into his fingers and then popped up out of his hands, and somehow he didn't then get another hand under it to try to hang on.
Yeah, but I think sometimes when you're bowling with the pace of Archer, the ball can just carry that bit further than you anticipate as a slip fielder, so you think that it might die on you because you're stood so far back, but because it was full, sometimes it feels like as a slip fielder that those deliveries pick up pace as they're coming towards you. So I think that surprised Moeen a little bit and meant that it hit the heels of his hands as opposed to the palms.
Topley bowled very parsimoniously, and he's going past the outside edge of Prajapati, who faces his 9th delivery for only 2 runs so far. He's still there, but there's a point at which still being there becomes detrimental to your team rather than helpful in a game this short.
Yes, although losing 2 wickets at the other end is not going to enthuse him to play too many shots, I wouldn't have thought.
Well, somebody has to do something. Reece Topley has been allowed to bowl 13 balls for 4 runs so far. And he's bowling his 14th and being driven out through the covers. That's better from Prajapati on the front foot and driving with some confidence. Wants the second, gets sent back. And just as well he got sent back because that throw was flat and fast and could have found them in a fair bit of trouble. So they get 1 run for it, Oman, 17 for 2. Almost saved at cover initially with the dive across. In the end, Livingston, the one who had to chase back. So they're shifting the field up a bit for the left-hander. Deep square leg and a deep third. So it'll be similar, but in mirror image. The slip stays in. Topley, his first look at a left-hander today, in and bowls full, flicked away in the air and just wide of mid-on. Archer running around. Thought he might be in the frame for a catch, but not quite. He just has a laugh, Jofra Archer. Says, these close calls, they're killing me. He's already got 2 wickets. You can't be too unhappy. 1 run added to the score, 18 for 2.
He's very animated today, Jofra Archer, isn't he? His trousers are a touch short for him. He might have borrowed them off one of his teammates. There's a good 4 or 5 inches above his boots that they're sitting at the moment. Not sure that's personal preference.
Topley up to the right-hander who punches away behind point and can't score. Maybe he's just had a growth spurt.
There's every chance. He's been bouncing the ball today as if he's had a growth spurt because it's exaggerated, but yeah, he's got big long legs, Jofra Archer, and not the trousers to fit them.
Really remarkable action, the economy of his bowling action. It just doesn't look like he should be able to bowl that fast, the way he sort of strolls up.
Trust me, I've faced it. He does, though.
I'm sure. Topley in and bowls, and a big shot here from Prajapati. Goes over the offside. It's carried for 6 over backward point. Well, that's outrageous. It was a slice. Lays into the drive. I think he was looking to go more over extra cover. But it's sliced away off the outside half, and it's not quite as big a hit out there as it was on the New York ground, for instance, where those square boundaries were enormous. And it's just carried the rope out there. So there's a little something for Oman to savour. Get the taste of the runs flowing. We're just having a look at the replay to see whether that half volleyed the rope or not. Surely that's landed.
Yeah,
just over the rope.
Comfortably beyond it.
Hard to see. There are a bunch of white covers rolled up behind the rope down there, so that might be why umpire was unable to pick up the ball in the background. 24 for 2 with the 6 signalled, and Topley, full toss, Yorker. Attempted Yorker, low full toss by the time it reaches the pad, but Prajapati can't take advantage through the onside. Looking to, but in the end could only squeeze it out to mid-wicket. No run scored, so 5 overs gone. An eventful start. Oman, who were asked to bat by England, who have net run rate to make up. They're 24 for 2, Oman, and Stephen Finn to continue with Henry Moran coming in.
Yep, all the talk in this game, or in the build-up to this game, has been about how quickly can England win, but Jos Buttler spoke a lot in between the game between Australia and England, and now about how England had to earn the right to get themselves in a position to be able to even worry about winning the game convincingly. And they've made a very good start at it. Archer and Topley, more natural opening bowlers than we've seen England use so far in this tournament, have acquitted themselves well and have Oman 24 for 2 from 5 overs.
Yep, and now a different challenge. That challenge being Mark Wood from the Andy Roberts end. One great fast bowler. And here comes England's quickest as Wood bowls. Oh, is it chipped back to him? I think it has been, yeah. Mark Wood has a smile, a laugh and a joke as he celebrates a caught and bowled. Zishan is out for just 1, and Oman 24 for 3.
There we go, Mark Wood. It's that pace and bounce again. This wicket is bouncing. And the batter can only just prod forward. Tries to turn his wrist on it and tuck it into the leg side, but gets the slightest of leading edges. And Mark Wood in his follow-through, he didn't fall over this time, thankfully. Therefore, the ball just loops back to him, and he's able to take a very simple chance around about his right knee. And then acts as if he was scared. He thought it was coming back quicker to him, but he is right into the action with his first delivery.
So England having dropped 1 catch. See Mark Wood taking a caught and bowled, and it is the 3rd catch of this innings. And there is a little statistical piece of information that intrigued me earlier on today, Finney, and that is that England, of all of the sides at this tournament have the second highest catch success rate of close to 90% in men's T20 internationals over the last 2 years, but they did drop 2 of the 8 that they've dropped in that time against Australia. And you know, sometimes little things can be an indication, and maybe it was just one of those days where these things happen.
Yeah, it's hard to read into too much stuff like that. You'd say that the greater gauge is over a longer period of time to see where a team's attitude and fielding is, and 3 catches out of 3 so far today, they'll be happy.
Apart from that slip.
Sorry, 3 catches out of 4 today, they won't be that happy.
Here comes Mark Wood to Khalid Kyle, the right-hander. Oh, and he's stepping away to the leg side in the fashion of a man that wasn't necessarily that up for that pace of bowling. Some applause from the England players out there as a gentle hum around the ground. It is a work day here, and so there'll be plenty who will be finishing up and then heading this way, this ground right in the heart of the island, in the centre of things, and started its life as an international venue infamously with that test match in 2009 that lasted just 10 balls before England and West Indies headed to the reg. In comes Mark Wood, 2 slips in place, and this is hit away in the air, just down below us, but short of Reece Topley. It was sliced away, the cries of catch from all those in the red of England, but Topley down there on the boundary edge was never really in the game, and a single is taken, 25 for 3.
Yeah, KO is going to fight fire with fire there. He's stepped outside leg stump both of those deliveries. The first one could just prat it back. The second one has a big swing trying to whack Mark Wood over his head, but thick outside edge land short of Reece Topley, who was advancing on it, but given his injury history in World Cups, I think decided against throwing the full-length dive towards him.
Wood sprinting towards us, and he's going to come rushing in and bowling. Is that an edge? Oh, some think it might be, but I'm not sure there's much interest from Butler or bowler, as that went whizzing down at 91 miles an hour. Prajapati won't be that used to pace of that description, and Mark Wood is, I think, enjoying his work. You know what it's like, Finney. You're a fast bowler, and you know the guy that you're bowling to isn't enjoying it. I mean, it must be lovely.
It's a pleasant feeling, yeah, especially Mark Wood. The Australians did enjoy it a few days ago, so it's nice to feel like you're in control of the situation this time round.
Wood wheels around at the far end, runs in over the wicket to Prajapati, who's chipping the ball airily towards mid-wicket, and it's fielded by Liam Livingstone, and this has been a very good first over from England's express pace bowler Mark Wood. 25 for 3 is the score. There's England flags over on the grass banks to our left. I can see that Chelsea one that's been following England around. There's a Manchester United flag as well, and plenty of fans with their legs leaning over a rather attractive stonework that is across that grass bank as well. Here comes Mark Wood again to conclude the over. This has been held in the air straight to the hands of mid-wicket, and England have got a 4th one. Prajapati, dangerous at the top of the order, just couldn't handle the pace. It was chipped so gently to the hands of the fielder. The England flags are flying, and it is going as it had to do for England, right to plan.
Yep, very much so. Again, too much pace from Mark Wood. It's back of a length. Prajapati trying to pull it, but just get nowhere near the middle of the bat. It hits the splice, the bat turns in his hand as he hits it, and it just loops to the fielder at square leg there, who again anticipates the ball coming quicker, takes a second to not be discombobulated, and then catches the ball as he realises it's only looping towards him. So England have their 4th. Mark Wood has bowled 6 balls, 1 run and 2 wickets. Exactly the medicine that he needed after his treatment from the Australians in Barbados, and England are well on course to winning this game in the manner with which they need to.
Indeed, and that net run rate boost is what we're talking about. England looking to bowl Oman out as cheaply as they can and chase those runs down as quickly as they can, and we will bring you what the net run rate shift is if they can get the victory, which is looking, I think it's fair to say, pretty likely at this point. Mainly blue skies overhead at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium here. Test match special, bringing you every ball of every game of this men's T20 World Cup, and there have been some brilliant stories so far. And so many games of cricket that have surprised, befuddled, pitches that have done things we weren't expecting, teams that have done things we weren't expecting. And here comes Ayan Khan. As Adil Rashid into the attack, and a big swing and a miss. Oh, could be a stumping. Butler maybe feels like he's missed out there. Did he get his hands in a bit of a tangle? They'll have a look at it. But I think Khalid Kyle has survived here. Big hoik into the leg side was ineffectual.
Big turn from Adil Rashid as well. He's really slowed up his pace there, that first delivery. Loop outside the off stump. It was a leg spinner, so spinning away from the right-hander.
They are going to have a little look here. I don't think he's terribly concerned. And I don't think England are that enthusiastic. He's out of his ground. Butler... Oh, he misses. But I think he might have still got him.
Still be out, yeah. Yeah, the heel is over the line,
but it's not.
The ball of the foot. Yeah, the ball of the foot is on the line. Therefore, there's nothing grounded behind the stump. So even though Butler missed on the first attempt, as he did actually against Australia, when stumping someone in that game, he's going to be reprieved.
And the interesting thing here is you can't possibly know if you're an England player what's going on because it's not being shown on the big screen. It just says decision pending. And Butler, having missed first time up, had another opportunity at it, and they're going to look from the other side. The line is the umpires, and Butler has dislodged the bails before that foot is behind it. You can see daylight, I think. You might be able to see a spike on the line, but...
Yeah, that's out for me, definitely.
And decision pending on the big screen says out. There you go. And so Adil Rashid strikes with his first ball. Oman are 25 for 5. And I think England, not so much making plans for dinner, they might be able to get a late tea as well at this stage. Finney?
Yeah, and 4 overs or 3.5 overs left from Adil Rashid as well. Adam Zampa on this ground was the main destructor of Namibia the other evening, and that first delivery has spun significantly. So again, another bowler comes into the attack with their first ball make an impact. Adil Rashid, England's first bowler to make it beyond 100 wickets in T20 internationals, men's internationals that is, the second being Chris Jordan a few days ago, but showing exactly why his experience counts so much, looping it up, finding big turn outside the off stump with a leg spinner, and he's got another one.
He does, and so Shoaib Khan joins Iron in the middle. Neither have faced a ball as yet. Oman are 25 for 5 early on in the 7th over. If you want to get in touch, tms@bbc.co.uk is the way to do so. I'd love to hear what you're up to, where you're listening this evening. It is such a busy time of sport at the moment. World Cup here in the Caribbean and USA, the Euros tomorrow, and all sorts of intrigue and interest across those two competitions. Of course, Wimbledon and the Olympics to come on BBC Radio in the next few weeks too. Just so much to enjoy, and we're enjoying what we're seeing from a resurgent England side, not least because it gives real intrigue to the back end of this group, as in comes Adil Rashid to bowl to Shoaib. First ball is defended watchfully, and into the onside. There is no run, because what we want to see is the drama of that final day with everything up in the air.
Yep, very much so. It feels as though that will be the case.
In comes Adil Rashid. This is outside the off stump, and it's signalled as wide. Of course, yesterday it was all about Josh Hazlewood's comments about Australia going slow to not see too much of a shift of the net run rate potentially that would aid Scotland's progress. Here comes Adil Rashid. Plenty of air, plenty of turn. It's patted towards backward point where Reece Topley will field. What did you make of all of that?
A couple of aspects of it. I think Josh Hazlewood might have been slightly tongue-in-cheek when he mentioned it.
Adil Rashid again. Oh, it's another fine ball, and this time Butler demolishes the stumps, but the batter Shoaib hasn't left his ground, so there won't be any prospect of another stumping.
But the way that he answered the question suggested that he hadn't had too much opportunity to think about it, and it was like he was just thinking out loud. He was a bit word salady when he did it, wasn't he? Because it was chopping and changing between, well, we could do it, but we probably won't, but we could, but then we might, but we probably won't.
Here is Rashid again, and this is thrashed into the offside. That's a nice looking shot, and it's going to bring 4 runs. Wasn't that wide from Rashid, but very well put away behind square, and Oman moved to 30 for 5.
Yeah, nice shot, just waited for that. Adil Rashid bowling quite slow, so rather than snatching at it, waited for it to be right underneath his eyes outside the off stump. connects with it nicely out the middle of the bat, and because there's a slip in place, there's only one man behind backward point. Races away for 4.
Final ball of the over, and another good delivery that turns past the outside edge. And the over concludes. 5 from it, the wide and the boundary. There was a wicket off the first ball, and Oman 30 for 5 here in Antigua at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. We went down to the Rec the other day where England were training and doing some range hitting and launching the ball actually out of the ground.
It's an expensive pastime, that, isn't it, really? £60, English pounds, for those listening from elsewhere outside the United Kingdom, where 60 English pounds I think it is for one ball. So I think you had a few raining on you as you were walking down the road, weren't you?
Yeah, well, we headed out of the stadium as England were finishing their training. I think it was Sam Curran who was the last to be in the nets, as myself and our producer Chris were strolling away. We heard a sort of clanging and a bouncing sound behind us, and heading on down the hill into a fruit market was one of those very expensive Kookaburra cricket balls that went sailing away. 30 for 5. Mark Wood is going to continue from the Sir Andy Roberts end of the ground. There's still a slip in place, and he bowls a ball which is jammed down on with a degree of caution from Iron Khan. Fred's listening in Sunderland. Blind listener listening to my home in Roker on the seafront of Sunderland. Hoping to follow this and Glamorgan against Hampshire at the same time, but Glamorgan rained off. Lovely to have you with us, Fred.
We were worried there might be rain here today. There was a spit of rain when I left my room this morning. We were worried that the rain was going to curtail England's prospects again, but
in comes Mark Wood. Oh, that's quick. Ducking out of the way. And the batter did not like that one bit. 30 for 5.
Yeah, although saying that, he's played that very well. He's watched it. It was a bouncer at the right shoulder, which is the perfect place to be bowling a bouncer because it follows the batter rather than them being able to sway out the way of it. But he ducked down, watched it all the way, and then had time to turn around and see it sailing into Butler's gloves about 30 yards back.
So 30 for 5. Moeen is standing alongside Joss Butler. Mid on and mid off are up. We've got a fielder in the deep cover. Deep third, fine leg and deep backward square leg. As Mark Wood is in, and that beats the edge of the bat. And again, rather tentative. He was almost playing that a little bit like somebody that knows what you've got to do in this situation. You know how you have to hold your bat when playing that shot, but have no idea how to play bowling that quickly. It was all sort of batting by numbers and hoping that you can get something on it.
Yeah, he held the line nicely, didn't he? If we're looking at it from a batting perspective, he didn't follow the ball as it left him, but just left the bat there in a nice straight line. But clearly the pace that they're facing at the moment from Mark Wood, this middle order of Oman, is, unless they faced it on a bowling machine, probably never faced it coming out of a bowler's hand.
Here's Mark Wood again, round the wicket to the left-hander, and that's rather well played. Angle down towards deep third, where Adil Rashid will scamper in to pick up and throw with fury in the sunshine. I would say 95% of the ground is in the heat, 30 degrees. Just Reece Topley, who's down below us in the shadow, is managing to escape a little bit of it. Over to our right, there's some executive deck chairs underneath some gazebos, right next to a huge inflatable World Cup cricket ball. I think that looks like the place to be. In the shade, the fans there.
Yeah, I spent a little bit of time on the beach yesterday here in Antigua, and I couldn't sit in the sun.
Here's Mark Wood again. Into bowl to Shoaib. Oh, that's a quick delivery right on the toes. Very nicely played into the onside, and Jofra Archer will run round to field with 1 run taken, 32 for 5. It really is hot.
And I wore a vest. I'd been to the gym, so I wore a vest down there in my attempt not to get sunburned, because I hate the feeling of being sunburned. And woke up this morning today, and both my arms were red raw. So I thought I was sat in the shade, so I don't know how it's got me, but it has. So I was furiously moisturising my arms earlier before I came out, just to try and give it some soothing.
All about the factor 50.
Yeah, I made a misstep there.
Here is Mark Wood to conclude his second over into the left-handed iron, who's bowled inside edge onto the stumps. England have got a 6th, and Wood punches the air. England congregate in the middle as another wicket falls. And Mark Wood celebrates finding the inside edge, and that ball rattling into the stumps to leave Oman in a really ugly position. 32 for 6 after 8.
Yeah, again, the pace of Wood trying to dab this one down to deep third again, but Mark Wood actually fell over in his follow-through, as he does so frequently, but it catches the inside edge of the bat and hits right at the bottom of leg stump. I don't think too many people inside the ground knew that it had bowled him initially, but the batter resigned as soon as he heard the clatter, looked at the ground and couldn't believe his luck, and he's now trudging off. But Mark Wood has 3 for 3 from 2 overs now. Not bad.
Can't argue with that, can you?
No.
That's figures that you can only dream of. Right, 32 for 6, 8 overs gone. And so Oman already have got number 8 striding to the middle. I assume that'll be Mehran Khan, as Mark Wood takes a big glug of some water out there, and it is the sort of day where you need it. As he reaches, with that wicket I should say, 50 T20 internationals from 32 matches, so a little milestone for Mark Wood today. And it is Mehran Khan who comes to the middle to face the music of Adil Rashid. Next up is England look to run through their bowling options, which to me it all feels a little more balanced today.
Yeah, I think having Topley there and not needing Mark Wood, I know he bowled the 6th over of the power play, but I think not needing Mark Wood necessarily inside those first 6 overs is a significant advantage for England and the balance of their bowling unit, I think.
Here comes Adil Rashid with his leg spin into his 2nd over. There's a big swing. Well, where's that gone? About a foot in front of the batter, who's trying to clear it into the leg side, show him.
I do think, however, against the team that they feel might threaten them towards the death of an innings, clearly Oman, they didn't feel as though that was the case.
This is bowled by Adil Rashid, just back of a length, and to the right of Harry Brook, who tumbles at mid-on. Single taken, so Mehran will be on strike for the first time. 33 for 6.
And I know Mark Wood has taken 3 for 3 today because he's a horses for courses selection, bowling against this Omani middle order, but I still think against Australia I'd have played Chris Jordan instead of Mark Wood for his ability at the death, which is something without him in they look a little thin.
Here is Adil Rashid tossing it up, left alone as Mehran lunges forward but wasn't tempted into anything.
But for this game, certainly, they've picked the right team.
Adil Rashid tosses the ball from one hand to the other, the sleeves rolled up. Moeen has been ever present at slip, as this is edged straight to him. And there's a wicket for Adil Rashid, his 2nd. And it was a big booming drive. He couldn't resist. 2nd ball, Mehran. And Moeen just had to drop down to his right. The great friends celebrate out there in the middle. And this is a gruesome batting display, it really is. It turned, yep. But Oman, 33 for 7, have gifted England another wicket.
Yeah, lovely bowling by Rashid, flighted outside the off stump. It's that lovely loop that he gets when he flights it up. It dips and it drifts back in towards the right-hander who's tempted to play a cover drive at the ball. But the bounce in this surface and how dry it is, it grips off the seam and leaves and catches the outside edge, and Moeen takes a nice simple chance, half leaning away to his right around knee high. But Adil Rashid has another wicket. England have yet another breakthrough. I think the lowest score in World Cups, do we know that? It's either 39 or 49.
Well, this is something we're going to have a little look at, because the record books might be being threatened here. Adil Rashid strikes for a 2nd time. Good evening to Andy Connell, who I know is a big Adil Rashid fan, he says, and is listening in. Lovely to have you with us. Hope you're doing well. And we're bringing good news for England supporters from here in the Caribbean, where they need this net run rate boost urgently. And at the moment, they're on course for a big, big win. Here comes Adil Rashid, 33 for 7. There's a leg slip in place now, and watchfully forward is Fayaz, who's into the side for the first time this tournament. What can you bring me, Finney?
Well, the search engine that I've consulted about this has said that Uganda's 39 on the 8th of June this year in this competition is the lowest ever T20 international score in a World Cup.
Here comes Adil Rashid. Cries of catch. It goes to the right of the fielder waiting inside the circle, and I think he just missed it. He just lost that. Should have been taken, shouldn't it? It went straight towards cover. Now, who's that? Is it Will Jacks? 35 for 7 after 9 overs.
He's not picked that one up at all. Almost hit him in the right shoulder, but wasn't looking in the correct direction that the ball was going, so just whizzed past his right shoulder out towards deep long off. It would have been an opportunity had he seen it, but clearly unsighted.
So, 9 overs gone, 35 for 7. Jofra Archer's going to have another bowl. Hello to Fred, who's listening in rainy Cornwall this evening. And the other day, you might remember this, we had Jack and Laura who were listening on a train between Bologna and Florence.
I do recall, yeah.
Going through the tunnels, losing signal. Well, they say this evening's now safely stationary and feeling suitably smug, enjoying the warm breeze of the Amalfi coast, hoping that England can overturn this net run break pickle.
Well, they're going a long way, or a good way, to overturning some of it. Certainly 35 for 7. Josh Butler talking about earning the right to be able to put the hammer down and accelerate themselves towards a net run rate boosting victory. 35 for 7 is certainly one of those occasions.
In comes Jofra Archer from the far end of the ground, defended and thinking of a run is shown, and that would be injudicious. It went straight to the hands of Harry Brook running in from mid-wicket. 35 for 7. Archer with an enormous gold chain looks at the ground, as is his way, as he walks back to the end of his mark. And Oman remain at 35 for 7. Yeah, you've heard that right. If you want to see highlights of this game, BBC Sport website and app to do so. In comes Archer. This is again defended into the offside again. He wants a run, but Bairstow's so quickly moving to his left and there's nothing available. So the score remains at 35 for 7. Bairstow, who's not had a great run of it in the tournament. Some questions as to whether his place might be in a threat. Scored 7 from 12 balls against Australia.
There's certainly a couple of schools of thought that Sam Curran, to give some left-handed batting in that middle order, may have come in for him.
In comes Archer once again, playing the ball down towards backward point. And Will Jacks, that's nicely played by Shoaib. He's not looking like he's going to score many runs off Archer, but at the moment he's playing in pretty competently. This innings has seen a top score so far of 9 from Prajapati at the top of the order. 3 scores of 1. And only the one Doug in a score of 35 for 7. A couple of England fans in the retro football shirts out there on the grass banks as in comes Archer again, and that's hit him. That's painful. He's okay. It's on the shoulder, but it's the sort of one that'll leave a nasty bruise. Another dot ball.
Yeah, picking up a battle scar there, I think. Straight on the shoulder. Extra bounce from Jofra Archer again. 87 miles an hour. But it's how high his action is and how much steepling bounce that he gets. It means that he's a very tricky customer, especially if you've never faced him before.
So England on top as this next delivery is pushed towards backward point, and the score remains at 35 for 7. Archer's got 2 for 12 so far. Heads back to the end of his mark. There's quite a lot going on over on the grass bank there. At the back of it, you've got the 3 gazebos with the red and blue roofs, and the smoke underneath them as the barbecues fire up, and you can get the lobster and the jerk chicken.
Can you really?
Yeah.
I'll make a trip round there then.
Here comes Archer to conclude the 10th over. He's running in and bowling a ball which is chased and missed by Shoaib. And actually Archer's intrigued here. He's wondering if this might be out. There's not much interest from anybody else who I think are looking towards the England fast bowler thinking, are you sure about that, Jofra? But at the halfway stage of the Oman innings, if indeed we do see the full 20 overs, which seems unlikely, I think it's fair to say, England as on top as could possibly be. 35 for 7, 10 overs gone. Shoaib is on 6, Fires is on 2. In the innings so far, we've seen just the 4 boundaries, 42 dot balls. England doing what they need to do. Stephen Finn, you're going to have a break, but some more from you just beforehand in terms of what we've seen.
Well, I was just going to contemplate whether actually Oman batting these overs out and not scoring that many runs in the remaining 10 overs, what does that do to England's run rate. I'm hoping that Jeff Lemon's going to come in and be able to enlighten us a little bit. But
I can tell you, it does nothing.
Okay, there we go. I'll pop off then.
If they bat out the overs and don't score, that's the same as being bowled out now.
Right.
So it's your net run rate across 20 overs. If a team is bowled out, their score is held to have been scored across 20 overs.
Fine. So, okay, it's not like 3.5 and over now. It would count as 1.75.
If you're all out for 40, you've scored 2 and over for the innings.
Okay.
And if you chase a score successfully, then your run rate is only for the overs that you've faced.
Fine.
So there's the big advantage that England can get, is that if they can chase this quickly, say they bowl out Oman for 50 and chase that in 8 overs or fewer, they would go past what Scotland would end up at if they tied the game against Australia. So if Scotland win against Australia, then they're through, right?
Yes.
So
if it rains, Scotland are through.
If it rains, Scotland are through. The only way that... So let's say Scotland tie the game and lose it in a super over against Australia. That would be the best thing they could do for their net run rate while losing, but that still brings their overall tournament net run rate down. So initially we were shooting too high in our pre-show because we were looking at the run rate they have right now. But if they don't win that game, it'll come down to something like 1.3 to 1.5, something like that.
Right.
So England could go past that today if they were able to, say, finish Oman for 50 and chase it in 8 overs. That would be my calculation on it, which may be wrong, but it's all I've got at this point.
Well, you're saying it with confidence, which is a lot more than I'm able to do.
Here we go. I've got the spreadsheet out. I've got the formulas going. We're doing our best here. Okay. So we've got Adil Rashid to send down some more leg breaks. Of course, England would then have the Namibia game where they'd need to also have a good result to keep that net run rate as high as it might be after this one. So there are all sorts of permutations. Every extra game you feed into it changes the numbers, which is why it's a difficult thing to figure out. Here goes Rashid. He's coming up and looping a ball in at the leg stump, and Fayaz coming forward on the front foot and defending it away. So yeah, there's no benefit to just batting out the overs, aside from, I don't know, a sense of satisfaction, I suppose. But if they're out there, they might as well try to score. Fayaz Butt waiting and reaching for a ball outside the off stump that goes past the outside edge. A nicely pitched leg break on about middle and off that spins away. 35 for 7 still.
Good morning to James, who's on an early morning run on the Gold Coast.
Rashid floats the ball up and it's turning away from very wide outside the off stump, and indeed it's called a wide, so that helps Oman a little bit. 36 for 7 with the extra.
Which sounds a very nice place to be early in the morning. The warmth of the Australian Queensland coast.
Rashid up and curls it in at middle and leg stump this time. No run. It is winter there at the moment.
It'll still be pretty warm.
It's always warmer than most winters. The Queensland winter is a very mild one, but the mornings could be cool if you're out for your run. You might actually have to put a hoodie on. Rashid wheels away, strikes the pad, the ball turning a little down the line of the stumps, but the umpire not interested, and neither are the players terribly. 36 for 7.
That was the googly that was not picked terribly effectively.
Got a slip and a leg slip in place. They're sending long on back, saying, go on, try to hit me down the ground. Rashid, flight, and it goes through him. There's the wrong one again. He saw that Fayaz wasn't really up to it, and he bowls him another one. This one pitches outside off stump, turns back in, and he's castled. 36 for 8. I'll tell you what, that net run rate boost for England, it's coming. Plug it into their veins.
Well, he managed to read that about as effectively as I've been reading net run rate calculations the last few days. Jeff, he just didn't spot it, did he? And it was, if ever there was an example of a bowler being too good for a batter, that was it.
That was it.
Fayaz Butt goes from 7. 36 for 8 is the score. Don't forget the BBC website has a live text commentary as well, where we are discussing these things, going through all of the various permutations. So there is multitude ways of following all of this, and you can join the conversation. We love hearing where people are. I love imagining what people might be up to. We've got Greg, who's chilling out at home in Devon, and Liz and James are on the Galician coast in Spain on a rainy evening in Santiago de Compostela. Michelle's listening in bed in Northampton.
Sounds like a good place to be.
It's apparently very rainy back at home at the moment.
Yes, yeah, we've had some updates. Anil Rashid in to finish his over, and he's trying the wrong end again outside the off stump. It's Kalimullah, the tall pace bowler, who's out there. 36 for 8, Oman. They're being taken apart here after 11 overs.
And this is an interesting email from Greg. Not that all emails aren't interesting, but in terms of the conversation from the Josh Hazelwood chat, Greg says, from a Froome in a wet and windy Dorset, much like the current weather in Florida, regarding the Hazelwood comments, it's laughable to even consider the thought that any Australian cricketer would go into a match without wanting to win and win well. Have you not met an Aussie? They're the most competitive people on the planet.
Yep.
And cricket just needs to find a sense of humour. I think he was, you could tell from what he said and how he said it that he was having a little smile, a little bit of fun.
I think he was just working through the problem. It had been presented to him as an intellectual exercise. What do you think about this? And so he went, okay, well, let's go through it. Mark Wood looking to go through another Oman batter, and he nearly caught it mid-wicket. There was a big dive away to the left. Was that Harry Brook trying to get airborne there? Couldn't quite get fingertips on it, and they'll get a run. So Shoaib Khan, who's been watching a few fall at the other end, gets that airborne flick away. Takes the score on to 38 for 8. Mark Wood, turn around. He's still got a slip in place. Love to see that in the 12th over of a T20 innings. Up Wood and bowling back of a length and just able to chop a little inside edge this time. 39 for 8.
Which is level with Uganda's score, which is the lowest T20 international total from the other night. So
in World Cups.
In World Cups, yeah. So that's what we're...
Been a few teams bowled out for 6 and 7 and 8 over the years. So 39 for 8. They've gone past that at least. So Shoaib Khan on 9. Kalimullah now on strike. And he backs away and tries to slap through mid-off. Classic fast bowler style. In fact, he does slap through mid-off because they don't have a fielder anywhere near it. They had an extra cover, but nobody straighter. Nobody down the ground. I was just waiting for the long-off fielder to come out of the shadows, but there was nobody at home, so he picks up 4. Kalimullah. He can hit batters and he can hit the cricket ball as well. He's on 4 off 2. They're 43 for 8, Oman.
Sort of shot that will be being played on village greens across the land over the course of this weekend, if the weather's okay. Big step to the leg side. Enormous bottom-handed hack.
Mark Wood up and bowling short and backing away, trying to pull. Kalimullah can't get anything on it. So 43 for 8. Yeah, we had some updates. We've got our team trying to get to Florida where it's pouring rain, but Dave Batchelor, who is producing in New York, has got back to Manchester and sent us some photos there where it's absolutely tipping down as well. So a fair bit of rain in your part of the world.
I think we've seen a 4 hit down the ground, a hostile bouncer. I would say this delivery, I hope that Kalimullah's shoes are made of reasonably stern stuff.
Here goes Wood. Will it be full? It is back of a length and he T-balls it off the top edge. Down to deep third for 1, where Topley picks it up and throws in left-handed. Lucky that Topley was very fine in terms of his position, because he was able to stop that from becoming a boundary. 44 for 8. Kalimullah up to 5.
It's coming, that Yorker.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen it yet. We've had, 4 back of a length in the over.
So now Shoaib is facing the music.
Shoaib Khan, who's 9 off 16. On a bit of a hiding to nothing here. What can he do? Try to use up as much of the next 8 overs as possible. Wood bowls up to him and he turns the ball away off his hip. Well, that's sensible. Gets it out to deep backward square leg. And he might as well just set himself to try to bat through the next 8 overs and get whatever it is that they can. Give themselves something.
Well, what they've done reasonably well is negotiate the Mark Wood over. Now got 3 for 12, but also they've managed to keep England out there for longer than they might have done. It's not been wild swinging on every occasion. Shoaib's now the only player in this Oman lineup to reach double figures.
He is.
And there's a good question coming in from Jay in Cambridge. It says, Now, I know that Jeff has been fathoming the equations for the run rate. Being the Caribbean, worked out net run rate?
The net run rate, extremely high. Extremely high. Certainly was in Barbados. Couldn't walk 10 paces. Here goes Rashid, and an attempted lap shot from Shoaib Khan, who gets down on one knee, looking to flick it over his shoulder, but the ball was so wide of off stump and turning away that he couldn't reach it, and it's called a wide by the umpire. So an unorthodox start, although Rashid has been bowling this way throughout the tournament so far. He's been hanging it way outside off stump and turning it as far as he can. He goes again, and that's in line with the stumps almost, but spinning past off stump as it hits the pad. A little half appeal that's abandoned. Dot ball. Shoaib on 10, Kalimullah on 5. Yeah, Atavale made 5, Prajapati 9, Aqib Ilyas 8, Zishan Maqsood 1, Khalid Kyle 1, Ayan Khan 1, and outside the off stump. It's into the keeper's gloves and there's no score. Mehran Khan a duck and Fayaz Butt made 2. So a lot of single figure scores so far, and it's just Shoaib who's managed to get a digit in the other column. He's on 10, waiting for Rashid and playing a forward defensive shot.
Well, he's not going to get his best ever T20 figures in international cricket, Adil Rashid, a remarkable 4 for 2.
Well, he could get better figures if he takes more wickets.
Well,
he won't have his most economical figures.
No.
There we go.
He could.
Every cricket statistic has a caveat, Henry. Here's Rashid down the leg side almost, spearing it in towards the leg stump, but there's a little bit of bat on it and they're able to get through for a run. 47 for 8. Shoaib Khan up to 11. Rashid could take 2 wickets with his last 2 balls and end up with 5 for 11.
He could.
It's possible.
It is possible.
He's only got 2 to go. He's got 3 for 11 so far. And he's got Kalimullah on strike, so probably not a bad opportunity to get his 4th, if ever there were one. What are the odds that this is a big swing towards the leg side?
High.
High. He's taking guard outside leg stump, Kalimullah. With a conventional pack lift, he's bowled. There is the 4th wicket. And Adil Rashid has got the first of the 2. It's the wrong one. It's outside off stump. It wasn't a wild swing in the end, but Kalimullah just sort of pushed forward at it, leaves the gate wide open, and Rashid drives the golf cart through. Such was the gap. That ball spinning back in, it hits middle and off, and it was almost a carbon copy of the one that he bowled a little earlier. Might have been a faint little inside edge on that, but there often is when the Googlies spinning back through the gate. Kalimullah out for 5, and this Oman capitulation is almost complete. Just 1 wicket to go, 1 ball to come in Rashid's over. He's got 4 for 11. Oman 47 for 9.
So Adil Rashid, 4 for 11. He could be on for his best figures. You're right. It's almost as if he heard me, Jeff. But England in a very happy position in this game. And we will have a look at potential net run rate implications at the halfway stage in terms of how quickly England chase things down. And forgive us being a little bit
preoccupied.
Yeah, and tedious with it all. But it is the crux of how this group is going to go. And it is all that has been on the minds of the England camp. And though they've said in the last few days, as you'd expect, we've got to earn the right to win the game first and foremost, they'll know that they've got to win the game well as well. No question about that. And Matthew Mott told me over at the far end of the ground in the shadows of that stand yesterday morning, yeah, they've run some calculations already.
I'm sure they have. I'm sure they've had the back room on it. Here goes Rashid over the wicket, and it's a slog sweep here from Bilal Khan on the bounce. And it so nearly was 5 for Rashid, but in the end, deep square leg wasn't quite far enough in to run in for that catch, Livingston. And he had to let it come to him. 47 for 9 after 13 overs. England in a great position.
Well, they are. It's been dominant, hasn't it?
They haven't taken the run. I was trying to figure out what was happening on the scoreboard there. Bilal Khan was told to stay put because Shoaib Khan, as the senior batter, wants strike and said, we're not going to take a single and leave you on strike for Jofra Archer or Mark Wood. Thanks very much. It's going to be me. So 47 for 9 with 7 overs to go. No run taken, and Jofra Archer will have the ball.
Well, Paul's listening, and this is a lovely thing this time of year to have an international tournament and England being overseas. It's an odd sort of topsy-turvy thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
England being away from home in June. But Paul's listening, he's saying, I'm enjoying the coverage, but tomorrow I get to go to the Oval. And I'll be following the blast match between Surrey and Gloucestershire. So there's live cricket. There's England overseas. All of it available on BBC Radio, I should say. Every ball of every game.
Jofra Archer to start things off. He's coming into bowl to Shoaib, who won't take a single as he drives the ball into a big gap on the leg side. So it'll be 2s, 4s, 6s. Nothing but. It's an odd one. Usually if I'm broadcasting with the rest of you from the BBC, then it's usually it means that we're somewhere else. It usually means it's winter in England.
It sounds a bit like winter at home tonight.
Or if I'm in England, it's winter back home in Australia. Archer in, and an attempted scoop shot. It's high in the air. This could be the end of the innings. He's caught. Butler running back outside the circle, takes the catch. And England have got part one of this job done. They have bowled out Oman in 13.2 overs for 47 runs. They have had the foot on the throat through this innings, and they have not let up. So Shoaib Khan out for 11. Archer gets the final wicket of the innings. And Oman, a sorry display in the end, all out for 47. And this leaves England with a fine opportunity to press home the advantage.
Well, it does. Stephen Finn's going to join us as well, and England will require 2.4 runs per over to win this, but they're not thinking about that. They're not going to be nudging it around and seeing as if they can get over the line in gentle fashion. It's going to be crash, bang, wallop, Stephen Finn, and they'll want to get it done as rapidly as possible.
Yes, again, I'm going to wait for the statisticians to tell me how quick England need to chase these runs in order to give them the maximum net run rate boost, but certainly they're going to come out the trap swinging. You expect nothing less from this England top order. Phil Salt, Will Jacks, Joss Butler, the three of them will come out playing their shots, and it looks like a fairly decent surface. A few balls have bounced, but not alarmingly, just the bounce of a West Indian pitch that you would imagine, hard, solidly packed together, dry. And there's no reason why England can't knock these off quickly.
So how did that innings play out? Well, England won the toss and they elected to have a bowl first, and the wicket started tumbling as soon as the second over when Pratik Athavali was caught by Salt off the bowling of Jofra Archer. Akib Ilyas, the captain, was gone for 8, caught by Jacks off the bowling of Archer with a score at 16 for 2. Zeshan Maqsood fell not long afterwards, caught and bowled off Mark Wood's first delivery. Prajapati, who is the danger player really at the top of the order, was caught by Liam Livingstone off the bowling of Mark Wood. That was 25 for 4, which became 25 for 5 when Khalid Keel was stumped off the bowling of Adil Rashid for his first wicket of 4. And Ian Khan was bowled by Mark Wood off an inside edge for 1. And we then saw the highest score of the innings. Shoaib Khan made 11 before he's caught right at the end off the bowling of Archer. Joss Butler running back and in between times, single figure scores in there for Mehran Khan, Faiz Butt and Cali Muller as well. So bowling wise, Reece Topley back into the side, 3 overs, not for 12, and Jofra Archer, 3.2 overs, 3 for 12. Here's Mark Wood.
Perfect bowling performance, well bowled, Mark. You look to have good rhythm as a unit.
Yeah, I think we had a point to prove. The last couple of games we trained really well this week to show that character and resilience coming back here. I'm really pleased for the whole group as a bowling unit.
Sum up conditions out there?
Extra bounce, tennis bally, sticking in the wicket a little bit. So we talked earlier, I thought Topper started brilliant coming in the team. He hit the length straight away, showed everyone how to go, and we took our catches and stayed behind the line, so that was good.
How important was it you didn't get carried away with that bounce? Sometimes when you see that you can go too short. Got your lengths about spot on?
Yeah, I think it was a mixture of trying to push Oman batters back, but also then having the awareness to go full and then look for that wicket taking ball, and I think we got the balance just about right, or the score would suggest that.
Just seen your wickets. On one of them you fell over. Is it the crumbly footholds, or is that just what you do nowadays?
No, I'd follow on a sheet of glass. I think it's quite like sort of skiddy and shiny, so just kind of getting a grip. I've tried long spikes, short spikes, no spikes, none of them work.
And lovely to have Adil and his variations there. He's bowling beautifully with a bit of spin.
Yeah, real asset for us. Every time he bowls a magician, I think. The only problem I've got with him is that he bowls his over in about 1 minute, so it's pretty tiring as a fast bowler, but great to have him on my side.
And the plan now, pretty simple. Get him as quick as you can and improve that net run rate.
Yeah, I'll get through this and I'll get my pads on and then be ready to go.
Good luck when you're back.
Cheers, Nas.
Well, England will be hoping it is not Mark Wood that is required to bat. And if the win predictor is anything to go by, at 0.2% in Oman's favour, Mark Wood batting seems a very unlikely prospect. He finished with 3 for 12. 3 of England's bowlers actually conceded 12 runs, and Adil Rashid conceded 11. 3 wickets apiece for Archer and Wood, 4 for Adil Rashid. And Oman all out for 47. Jeff, you've been busy doing some calculations.
Yeah, by my maths, 8 overs would take them past the likely point where Scotland could end up at if they didn't win that game against Australia, if it was the closest possible result for Scotland to lose that game.
Lovely. Righto. That is encouraging from England's perspective. It is all feeling a little rosier, Finney.
Yeah, certainly. And actually, when you look at it and you hear how quickly the net run rate can change, you've seen Afghanistan in their group with a positive net run rate of 5.2, I think it is. So it can change very quickly, and big resounding victories can make you, one, feel much better as a team and more confident, as Mark Wood alluded to there. They felt as though they had a point to prove coming in today. They've proved that point in the first instance. Now they'll have to do the same with the bat. If they leave here with a significantly better net run rate, there'll be a lot more positivity about this England campaign.
Indeed, and positivity has been something that's been a little short in supply, with England having lost that game to Australia, I think as much as anything as a bit of a hangover from the 50 over World Cup. But they're in a good position in this game with 48 required. That is all. Here in Antigua at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium, a few clouds overhead, but no clouds for England today. It has been a fine, fine performance thus far. They've bowled out Oman for a pretty paltry 47, and having run the calculations, double check them, and also check what other people are saying on social media just to make sure. 32 deliveries, we think, Jeff Lemon, and England, if they do that, if they can chase down 48 in 32 deliveries, they will go past where Scotland are. So they'll have done the work that they needed to turn the net run rate situation around without even thinking about the Namibia game.
Yeah, so 5 and a bit overs to get past where Scotland's rate is now, 8 overs to get past where Scotland's rate would be if, at best, if Scotland don't win the game against Australia. So either way, well, you'd think 8 overs they should be able to stroll that. The 5 would be handy, although of course it can change in the Namibia game depending what goes on there. It could, England's rate could decrease from the boost that they get from this game, depending how well they play against Namibia.
Indeed. Righto. England currently minus 1.80 on the net run rate, Scotland 2.16. We will update that at the conclusion of this game. England are ready to go out there in the middle. I can see Jos Buttler, and actually rather more of Jos Buttler than I was anticipating. His trousers around his knees at the moment. Something needs adjusting with his thigh pad, but he's, I think, ready to go. Thank you to Jeff for the time being. Jeff Lemon with us as part of our commentary team across the tournament from ABC Grandstand, and Stephen Finn, Ashes winning fast bowler. You think England are going to go absolutely, well, we know they are, aren't they? They're going to go wild here, aren't they?
Yeah, they have to. I think the wickets are no consideration for net run rate, so the quicker they can get these runs, the better for that overall net run rate. And yeah, inside those 5.2 overs gets them beyond Scotland as they are now, which will be a nice comfort going into that game against Namibia.
Well, I like this from Oman. They've got a slip in place. They're thinking wickets is our route to anything in this game, and from their point of view, you know, it's very difficult when you've been bowled out for something as low as they have, 47 all out, and they'll just be hoping they can grab a few wickets. And Bilal at the top of his mark, their premier bowler, left arm seam, has taken a wicket in each of his last 5 T20 internationals, and he is the man they turn to try and put some pressure on England. The 2 fielders in the deep are at deep mid-wicket and deep backward square leg, as a few clouds roll over. The England supporters that are queuing up to grab a bite to eat or a drink over there can have a perfect view as well from the top of the grass bank. You can queue for your beverages and watch the game as you do it from square onto the wicket. It is a brilliant place to watch cricket. I have to say, and the dancers are up on the far side of the ground as well. We're pretty much ready to go. Phil Salt's bearded figure is looking around and looking at boundaries, and he's waiting to send that little white leather projectile as quickly and aggressively to all parts of Antigua as he possibly can. England requiring 48 for victory from 120 balls, but they're going to try and do it far, far quicker than that. We know the net run rate situation. If they can win inside 5.2 overs, they'll overhaul Scotland today. Here comes Bilal Khan, bowling to Phil Salt, right-hander, and the first delivery is walloped away. There it goes. That's going to be 6. Out over extra cover. Well, that's some statement to start things off. 42 now needed.
Yeah, you knew that Phil Salt wasn't going to mess around. It was a full swinging delivery. It wasn't a bad delivery at all from the bowler Bilal. Swinging back into the middle of Phil Salt's bat though, and he hammers that flat over extra cover through the boundary hoardings for 6. England off and running.
A little punch of the gloves between Salt and Butler. Crowd up and about. As in comes Bilal to bowl to Salt again. He's gone hard once more. That's even further. That's going to be 6. And it goes sailing over an England supporter wearing one of those old Admiral one-day international shirts. It's back-to-back 6s to start the innings, and England are already a quarter of the way there.
It's a lovely shot by Phil Salt. Bilal just held it back a touch, but it's just as full. He opens up that left foot, whips his wrist through it, those strong wrists that he has that help him hit the ball so far, and he hammers that at least 20 yards beyond the boundary. England 12 for none.
6-6, and that target of 48 is already very much on the horizon. In comes Bilal again. This is shorter. Oh, he's bowled inside edge. Well, there you go. Phil Salt, 6-6 and out. England are 12 for 1 with the third ball of this first over coming off the inside edge and then smacking that off stump out of the ground.
Yeah, I think falling on his sword there, Phil Salt, for the betterment of the team. Wickets, as we said just a moment ago, no consideration for net run rates, so just very much as quickly that England can get there, the better. Phil Salt, he walks off mouthing to himself. Maybe something that can't be repeated before the watershed, but he's trudging off with 12 from 3 balls, but again, like he always does, he's got England off and running.
So Bilal strikes. He tends to take a wicket early on, and his spell gets a little bit of swing through the air. And it's rather been the theme of the tournament, hasn't it, so far, that teams have found early breakthroughs, particularly in the Caribbean, with the additional swing you're getting, and it's those left arm seamers that have been so effective, whether it's Trumpelman or Bilal, Mitchell Stark.
Shaheen swings it, left arm swing, yeah.
Teams tend to have one in their lineup, and it's a very valuable weapon with the swinging ball into the right-hander. And we've got Will Jacks coming to the middle, England's number 3. He too will be going as hard as he possibly can, as we see a little substitution, if you like, in the field with the man at fine leg replacing the man at backward square leg. The sun is shining, shadows just beginning to lengthen. And in comes Bilal with England 12 for 1 chasing 48. Will Jacks is defending it. Why has he done that?
Just having a look. I played with a guy called Tyrone Henderson at Middlesex, a big South African guy. And he said he needed 2 balls to get his eyes in. One for the left eye, one for the right eye, and then he was ready to swing. So you'd always see him block 2 balls and then swing. So maybe Will Jacks has been in conversation with him.
12 for 1. 2 balls left of the first over. England looking to chase down 48 as quickly as they possibly can. There's a hum around the ground. Supporters watch on, expecting drama. And here comes Bilal into bowl to Jacks, who plays that rather tentatively, gently into the onside for a single. He'll get Butler onto strike. And he's had those 2 balls now, a dot and a single. And Phil Salt, having hit 6 from the first 2 balls of the innings, as you say, he rather fell on his sword in the inside edge onto the top of off stump. So Bilal at the end of his mark. Butler scratching away to mark his guard, and has A little look around, and so strong, powerful over the offside. I wonder if he's going to try and repeat what Phil Salt did with those two booming sixes to kick things off. 13 for 1 then. Here comes Bilal to finish the first over, and Butler gets a swinging delivery which is tucked away off the pads out towards square leg for a single. And after the 12 runs from the first 2 balls of the over, they conclude the first over 14 for 1. They're chasing 48, and England up and running in their pursuit of a pretty tame target. You can see smiles on the faces of those in the England dugout shown on the big screen. Jofra Archer is there amongst some of the England support staff, and there's a lot of them actually out here, the England support team. Kieran Pollard, one of them for this tournament as well. He's a fairly imposing figure when you see warm-up drills and the football matches going on.
He's a big old boy, isn't he? Some big personalities in there as well. Andrew Flintoff, Kieran Pollard. Everyone trying to help England progress through this group stage. There have been a lot of brains clanging together trying to figure out what needed to be done behind the scenes, but they've done the hard part. They've bowled Oman out for 47. Now Captain Josh Butler, it's in his hands. 5.2 overs is the target to overhaul that net run rate of Scotland's.
Here comes Cally Muller then to bowl to Josh Butler, the England captain, who is swinging a ball that comes off an inside edge and drops into the onside for a single. He looked just a little tentative as he went through with the stroke there.
Yeah, not quite timing the delivery. Cally Muller, he's got odd action. He's probably my favourite bowler of this tournament, purely for his celebrations and his appeals when he has a wicket or he thinks he's got a wicket, but he's got quite a low arm. So for a big guy, he's humongous. Must be around 6'8", 6'9". His arm comes down quite low, which means that the seam's not perfectly upright. So it means sometimes it will catch the corner of the seam, sometimes it will hit the shiny bit, but it means the ball very rarely comes off the pitch at the same pace.
Cally Muller again, with Will Jacks coming down the track and muscling it down the ground. That is a really powerful stroke for 4 runs, and he is a big man, Jacks, and it went to the right of mid-off aerially. And England moved to 19 for 1 in pursuit of 48.
Yeah, lovely controlled shot by Jacks. It's a no ball as well, the umpire signals, which isn't going to help anyone other than England. Cally Muller, the big fella, can't get the big size 17s. They do look humongous shoes actually from here. Can't keep them behind the line, but it was a lovely controlled straight batted shot by Will Jacks up over mid-off for 4.
Looks like he's running in wearing a pair of boats on his feet.
They're humongous.
Free hit then. England at 20 for 1. Jacks on strike. Cally Muller is in, and an inside edge which will go down towards fine leg, and it's a dot ball. So he's missed out there on the free hit. England remain at 20 for 1. And is that another no ball? No, I don't think it is. You always wonder when the umpire's shown on the big screen, but actually they're just telling us who it is. Langdon Rasere from Zimbabwe, and as his partner out there in the middle today, Asif Yaqub from Pakistan. England chasing just 48 at 20 for 1 after 8 balls. Cally Muller running in to Will Jacks, who comes forward and swings at a delivery not unlike something you might have seen in the MLB series that was at the London Stadium this weekend. That was very much strike 1. 20 for 1.
I know a few of the guys are into their baseball actually. Harry Brook, I think, if he were allowed back of the bat sponsors in an ICC World event, I think it would be for the MLB. I think that's what we saw Josh Butler having taken off the back of his bat. In an ICC World tournament, you're not allowed a sticker on the back of your bat promoting anything other than the tournament sponsors.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, but you can have a bat manufacturer.
Yes.
Okay. Here comes Cally Muller, and another swing and a miss from Will Jacks, his feet going nowhere. He's 5 from 6, which wasn't necessarily the order of the day. Anything strike rate wise under 100, but he can catch that up pretty quickly.
Yeah, big bounce from Cally Muller, and just the way that his seam comes down, that one kicked up off the corner of it, more back of a length. It's a big tennis ball bounce. There, the wicketkeeper jumping to catch that one up around his shoulder.
20 for 1 is the score. Some greats of the game here today. Sir Curtly Ambrose is here. Here comes Cally Muller. Jacks on strike has hit that aerially. This should be a chance of a catch. A backward point. Fielder running back. Takes a pretty simple catch. England 2 down, and Will Jacks, I'm afraid, hasn't necessarily read the script there. He's not quite got that right. Blocked a couple, swung at a couple and missed. One boundary, but he's gone 5 from 6. 5 from 7, I should say, and England 20 for 2.
Yeah, that was straight up the chimney, that from Will Jacks. He gave himself room, trying to hack it up over the offside, but can only hit it off the toe of the bat. And the bounce of Kalimullah, it was a bouncer, mean that it only could catch the outside half of the bottom of the bat and balloon straight up in the air, where Point settled underneath it. You thought for a second that he might misjudge it, but because there are clouds in the sky, you've got something to gauge the depth of the catch from. Catches it reverse cup, and Kalimullah, the celebration that I've enjoyed watching throughout this World Cup, he does it again. It makes my hamstrings wince when he does it. It's like he's drop kicking like Johnny Wilkinson in 2003, but his foot ends up above his head when he kicks the ball over the posts. And that's very high when you're a man his size.
There's quite a lot of leg there, one way or another.
It's very elegant. It's like a Moulin Rouge style, sort of up over the head.
So the can-can.
Yeah, is it the can-can? Yeah.
20 for 2 then. England chasing 48. Will Jacks is out. And Johnny Bairstow, who had a bit of a torrid time against Australia, comes to the middle, and he is a man that can get on with it. Most are in this England lineup. Butler's at the other end, 2 from 2. Bairstow waits as Kalimullah comes in to finish his over, and Bairstow swings at that, and that's nicely played. Chipped away, really, as much as anything. Over the infield, all up inside the circle and the offside. And he finds the boundary to move to England, to the halfway stage for England. 24 for 2 after just 2 overs. A reminder, if they can chase this down in 5.2 overs or quicker, then they will pass Scotland's net run rate. So, good evening to you, Jack, as well, listening. And a shout out to the Masters Journalism cohort at the University of Sheffield, heading back up the M1 after a week in London. I'm currently listening to the cricket on a portable radio whilst reading Stuart Broad's autobiography. I mean, there you go. If you like, that is loving cricket.
Looking to get some sleep.
Vinny. Have you written an autobiography?
No, I haven't actually. No, I've not. No.
No, well, there you go.
I'm not sure that people would be clamouring over themselves at the bookshop to go and read it.
Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a name for it now. It's got my mind whirling. Right, here comes Bilal to bowl to Joss Buttler. And he comes down the track, slaps it away through mid-off and for 4. Powerful shot from the England captain, and it goes racing away to the boundary. England crunching through this run chase with ease, enthusiasm, and the sort of release you sense of tension that comes from a bowling performance that has totally transformed the narrative of their tournament. They require just 20 further runs to win, and they've got 107 balls to do it. Here's Bilal again at the end of his mark. Buttler, who advanced previous ball, waits for another delivery, which is mistimed towards extra cover. 28 for 2 it remains.
Yeah, Butler, lovely timing there actually, that when it's been full of a length, you have been able to stand there and hit through the line of the ball. When it's been back of a length, there's been that little bit more bounce, which has proved tricky. And Bilal, not a tall man, and needs swing as his friend, looking to take wickets, so looking to get the ball a touch full, which gives Butler the opportunity to just stand there and hit through the line of it.
Bilal into bowl to Joss Buttler on 6. He gets a delivery which is on the hips and pulled away murderously with one hand off the bat, and it goes flying away for 4, and Buttler with a little nod and a punch of the gloves with Johnny Bairstow has found the boundary again. It sat up invitingly, 32 for 2, and England are within 16 of the win.
It's funny, isn't it, how quick the narrative can change around England and around their prospects. Clearly, I think we're foolish if we completely discount Scotland from doing better than just losing that game. They've played very well in the games that they've played. Clearly, Australia will be their toughest test.
This is whacked away into the onside this time, and it could be 6. No, just shy of the boundary ropes. It was a rather odd-looking shot, that, from Buttler, and seemed to rather go a little bit wider on the onside than we were expecting, but he does get 4. England now within 12 of the win.
Yeah, it was a slower ball by Bilal, flicked out the front of the hand, so looking to try and get it to swing as well, similar to the ball that Chris Wokes bowls sometimes inside the power play. So Buttler was in position to whack it and then had to just slightly readjust the swing of his bat, which is why it only caught the inside half of it and he dragged it towards a mid-wicket rather than hammering it straight over Bilal's head.
The thin end of the wedge, says Christopher in Berwickshire.
Not bad, not bad.
Here comes Bilal running into bowl to Jos Buttler, who pulls into the onside. Fielder out there in the deep watches it sail over his head, bouncing away towards the scoreboard. And England now are within one blow of the most devastating victory. We're only in the third over.
I said 3.2, didn't I, in the build-up? I thought 3.2 overs would be the victory, was when England would pick up the victory, so they need to slow down a bit if that's going to be true.
89.2, 89 metres I think it was. 89.2 I think was the pace that was being delivered, which feels a bit quick to me actually.
But it certainly disappeared quickly. That was an absolute monster by Buttler.
42 for 2, England are chasing 48, and they're going to get there not just quickly, but ludicrously quickly. 6 to win. Here comes Bilal to bowl to Jos Buttler, who goes hard at the ball into the offside. It's not going to quite be 6, it will be 4 out towards the grass banks, and so we will go to the 4th over. But England only need 2 further runs for victory, and those queuing at the bar will be hoping that the bars and the food stalls stay open for a few hours yet,
well,
so
they can have
enjoy
surplus
this.
food, aren't they?
They certainly are.
I might pop round there actually. I've not eaten since about 10 o'clock this morning. It's now 20 to 5. I could do with a jerk chicken and rice, or grilled fish has been beautiful, hasn't it? The white grilled fish that you get.
The mahi-mahi.
Mahi-mahi is very popular, yeah.
Which is
snapper.
Which is also called dolphin, but crucially isn't dolphin as...
Okay, good.
It's not flipper.
Good.
it's known as dolphin.
Fine.
The mahi-mahi is a big steaky.
It's lovely, yeah. It really is nice.
46 for 2 then. Fires. Well, this is an intriguing moment. Fires Butt has come into the side for his first appearance at the World Cup, with England requiring 2 for victory at the start of the 4th over. Bairstow's going to be on strike. And Fires Butt, who's an experienced T20 international cricketer, won't have faced many situations quite like this. England need 2 to win. Bairstow on strike. Fires is in to bowl to him. It's helped away into the leg side, down towards the boundary, and that will be that. England have won this game at the 3.1 over mark. They've chased down 48 with such rapidity and such ruthlessness. Yeah, a couple of wickets in there, but in doing so, they've boosted their net run rate, where it was at -1.8 to now north of +3.
That's a very swift turnaround. It's remarkable, really. England just flexing their muscles here. We always knew that they would and should have too much for Oman, who actually gave a really good account of themselves in their game against Australia and have just gradually faded away since. But a determined England on a better surface than we saw in Barbados, with better weather, have really turned up. The players have mentioned in between games that they had good practice, that they felt confident, that they weren't panicking, and they've done exactly what on the tin when they arrived at the ground today and won the toss. Jos Buttler gave his team the opportunity to really assert themselves upon Oman, and they've done that with both ball and bat in hand, and there'll be a lot of players going back home to the hotel tonight with smiles on their faces.
Yep, there will. It is worth pointing out that if England's game against Namibia was to be washed out, then England still can't qualify, but they have done a huge amount of work this afternoon in getting their tournament back on track. Stephen Finn, they've won this game chasing down 48 after 3.1 overs, and Johnny Bairstow hitting the winning runs. England with a victory that probably is beyond what they could even have hoped for, I think.
Yes, most definitely. I think when you come to the game, and Jos Buttler spoke about it in between the games, and I know I've mentioned this a couple of times, but it's about getting yourself in a position to win the game and then really trying to make the most of the position that you find yourself in. But I think even when they won the toss and bowled first, and even when Oman was 16 for 2 in the 3rd over, I don't think they anticipated that they'd bowl Oman out for 47 And then I definitely don't think they'd have anticipated that they'd have chased the runs in 3.1 overs, but they have done that. And I think it just shows the power that England have in this team. However, as you say, Henry, this is just a step in the right direction. Still, if other results don't go England's way, they'll be out of the tournament.
Yep, so England back on course to an extent. They've done what they needed to do today. They boosted that net run rate. Of course, Scotland win against Australia, then they're still out. They don't get a game in against Namibia, or they lose to Namibia. Also no good. But things looking an awful lot rosier for England, who have chased down a target of 48 inside of 4 overs, or with 1 ball gone in the 4th over. And it all built upon that brilliant bowling performance with 1 score in double figures for Oman. That is Shoaib Khan's 11. 3 wickets apiece for Archer and Wood. Adil Rashid picked up 4 for 11. In response, England saw Phil Salt hitting 2 sixes to start the innings, then he was out. Will Jacks made 5 from 7. Jos Buttler 24 from 8, and Johnny Bairstow 8 from 2. So that is how that has all played out, and England have done a brilliant job in terms of turning their tournament on its head. And that net run rate situation is looking an awful lot healthier. They were in a bleak spot, -1.8. They're now plus 3.01. So there we go. That's why winning quickly was important. They've done exactly that. So England back on course